The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on October 24th, 2023.
It's time now for Business Matters, brought to you by Mokulele Airlines. Now here's your host, Pam Tumpop.
Aloha, Gary. How are you?
Good morning, Pam. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. It is a pretty day here in Oahu. I'm calling in as I'll be a speaker a little later this morning for the Hawaii Business Exchange Summit, which is a program of the Vegas Chamber of Commerce, who's here to have discussions with us about all things in Hawaii and how we've been doing after the wildfires. So it's nice to be here today. And I want to thank you, Gary, for all you do producing the show, whether I'm near or far. So thank you for all of your efforts.
I do my best.
You do a great job. We want to welcome everybody to Business Matters today. I'm Pamela Tumpop, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce and your host. And we are sponsored by Mokulele Airlines. So today with Business Matters, we're going to talk to Matthew Bachman, executive director of Habitat for Humanity, and it's Habitat Maui, and we will get an update on the organization and how they're doing, especially in light of Matthew's recent role and all things that have occurred on Maui and the different events that have been happening. And then we're going to speak with Susie Theiman of Lokahi Pacific. We're going to also get a similar update from her on how things have been going with their organization, given the needs in our community and the wildfires. And lastly, we're going to hear from Kevin Yim of Zippy. Zippy has been a great chamber member and partner, and we'll talk about their relief efforts and their newest expansion into Las Vegas. So they also have a representative here in Honolulu today as well. But let's start with Matt Bachman. He was born in Indiana and made his way to Maui in July of 2019, just in time for COVID and now, of course, the wildfires. He has practiced law, has worked with foster kids for 12 years in Florida, and is now the executive director at Habitat for Humanity Maui. He has worked for Habitat now for 4 years and been the executive director for 1 year. He lives in Kihei and loves enjoying the beach and great food, but currently he's in the cold in D.C. Good morning, Matt. How are you today?
I'm great. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We're so thrilled to have you, and so excited with the work that Habitat has been doing. I recently received a letter for a donation, but also a story, and it was a story of someone I knew and had been very close to hear that they got a home. So it was really heartwarming to know how great the program is when it's somebody that you're very close to and have that kind of connection with. So we thank you for all that you're doing. Tell everybody a little bit about Habitat and what you've been doing on island.
Yeah, thanks. So Habitat for Humanity Maui has been on island for 25 years. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary gala this past June. And in those 25 years, we've built about 70 homes and helped over 200 families do repairs and renovations. We currently are scheduled over the next 5 years to do another 45 homes. So if you kind of do the math, we were doing about 2 to 3 homes a year, and we're going to try and do 9 homes a year over the next 5 years. So we have a lot going on. We also have funding from the Maui County Office of Aging as well as the Department of Hawaiian Homelands to continue to do what we call a brush with kindness, and basically it's a way for us to go into the homes of our kapuna and make sure that they can age safely in place, and we do that all at no cost to our kapuna. So that's kind of what's been going on. We're growing, and even before the wildfires, we were set to really start to help even more of the affordable housing on Maui.
It's been a crisis. It's been a crisis for a number of years. We missed, unfortunately, a great window with such low interest rates over the past decade, and now we've seen things skyrocket over the last several years. So I want to go back before I talk about moving forward because I'm really excited to talk about how you're going from 2 homes to 9 homes. But I want to have you talk a little bit about, because there's so many new products now for seniors, if you can talk about sort of going through in that brush where you're able to work with the elderly and help them age safely in place. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like in terms of an assessment and how it translates into maybe renovations with their home?
Absolutely. Thank you. So what we're able to do is first we have to make sure that they're eligible. Generally, our kapuna are eligible. They have to be at 80% of the area median income or below. So that is about it's about $88,000 for a family of four, or about $57,000 a year for a single kapuna. And so as long as, and almost anyone that's on a fixed income is obviously below that. And then once we make sure they have to own the home, and then make sure that they're a resident of Maui County, so it's all of Maui County, all three islands. And once we determine that they're eligible, then we have our construction team go in, kind of look to see what they think would be helpful, what the kapuna would be helpful for them to age in place. One of the things that we do the most is what we call a bathroom blowout. Basically, we go in and take out the tub and put in a walk-in shower, and then put grab bars, wherever they need. And again, then once we assess that, our board of directors then approves the project. Then we're able to go in, and usually in 3 to 4 days, depending on the size of the project, change the home so that the kapuna, that he or she feels much safer in the home, and can age in place. Because what we know is that not only is affordable housing, sometimes difficult to come by, if we can make sure that the housing, the number of homes that we have, that are able to be lived in are maintained, then that is even easier than building a new home for someone. So if we can just make sure that they can, our kapuna can age in place, we're doing a real a real good thing for them.
Absolutely. And that is so important. And I love the very proactive approach that you've already come up with a program to help them assess this and get the renovations done before it becomes a huge burden on them. That's really tremendous. So the other thing I'm excited about, of course, with our crisis, we're all looking at how do we get homes built as expeditiously as possible, and you folks are doing an amazing job. But to go from 9 homes now to go from 2 homes now to 9 homes per year, tell me a little bit about that process and what's aiding you in ramping up to that.
Yeah, so we currently have a partnership with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. So we are building right now 3 homes up in Kula. And by about this time next year, we will be starting to build in Hana. And so one of the ways that we're ramping up as quickly is we will, with the county's assistance, we will be buying about 7.2 acres out in Hana, with which we are going to build 25 homes. Wow. And so we are going to start a brand new team out in Hana, of construction workers and volunteers and everything out in Hana for the residents out there. And so we're not ready to start taking applications yet, but we will start doing some town halls the end of this year to start getting those ready. And then again, not only with those 25 homes, then with the new DHHL land in Waikapu, Punani, I think it is. Anyways, we're going to get between 8 and 16 lots out there to help with as well.
That is fantastic. Really excited to hear that, because that's going to, we need all hands on deck when it comes to housing. And I'm glad to see that you've got a plan that's really ramping up. We're always looking at what is our return on investment as we're working with different strategies for getting housing deployed quickly and the types of housing. And this is really exciting. One of the best things I've heard in a while in terms of how many units can we get in place in the next couple of years. So we've got solid plans there, which is thrilling. And I know DHHL has a lot of money they need to deploy, right, to get housing out rapidly.
They do, and that's one of the things that we're really partnering with them is to just see, where we can be of the most assistance. Because, a lot of times, not only do they have, there are a lot of beneficiaries that are on the list, but, sometimes maybe those beneficiaries aren't able to make, a mortgage payment that maybe others are. And so what we want to do is bring the affordable housing to those on the beneficiary list.
Yeah, that's so important. I love it. Very exciting. Well, let's move to a subject that's been, heart-wrenching for us all. And I know, of course, you folks have built houses across the island, and we've had fires across the island. So how has Habitat been affected, or your family's been affected by the wildfires?
Yeah. So in 2020, we did a home dedication of 10 homes in the Kahoma residential in Lahaina, and unfortunately, all 10 of those homes are gone. Luckily, the 10 families that were in there are all safe and are in intermediate housing, or housing where they can stay temporarily, but for the long term. So we have been working with them to make sure that they are, all set with their insurance, and getting that put together. And then when the time is right, we are going to rebuild those 10 homes, and we are going to, rebuild them for those families and get them back on their feet.
Well, I'm so glad that they're safe, and I'm so glad that you're helping it and standing by them with a plan to let them know that you're going to be there. One of the things that we're a little worried about is that a lot of families will be getting some insurance money at a time when it's going to take a while for remediation. And so we're really also wanting to help them get, learn about what that means to get that money in when they don't have expenses to offset it for things like taxes, but also protecting that money. So when they are able to rebuild it, that the money's still there and they're able to move forward. But and Habitat's going to be such a great asset, not only for those families, but also for all families, because you folks with the restore and the work that you're doing really help bring the building costs down, because we keep hearing that when we start rebuilding, the costs are going to, not only are we seeing supply costs go up, but, just overall there's going to be so much building that the cost is going to go up. So how are you planning for that, given that kind of that boom that's going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things is that we know that we're going to rebuild for our 10 families, but we're going to help rebuild substantially a lot of Lahaina. So there are going to be people who are underinsured and who can't rebuild the home that they're used to having, but they may have enough money to do an affordable home, which we could do for them. And then we're trying to put together a program right now for those who might be uninsured and would still like to rebuild. There's a likelihood that we can maybe work with them, depending on income and eligibility. But I have a feeling that as we get closer to that day, and as I hope that people have more hope, knowing that Habitat could be there for them, we might build 25, 50, 100 homes, in the long run, working with the people and the residents of Lahaina, just to have another option to rebuild, and doing it affordably.
Yeah, I think that you folks are a phenomenal option. So for everybody listening, please take what Matt's saying to heart and share it with others, because if people aren't familiar with what Habitat for Humanity Maui is doing and the work and how they can save people money as they rebuild their homes, you're going to be a great asset for us in this program. And I'm wondering, given the time frame, we're still talking about FEMA being on island. Are you folks working with FEMA at all? Have they tapped you as a resource for how you could be part of that recovery plan?
Yes, we've been in touch both with many of the stakeholders, with FEMA, with Red Cross, with all kind of the big name groups that are on island. We met face to face with all of them, and so we all are aware of each other, and we are just trying to do cross referrals because Habitat, right? It's not our time right now because we build kind of at the single family dwellings. We're not transitional housing for people,
Right.
but so when it is our time, we want to make sure that everyone remembers us. But until then, we're still working with FEMA, Red Cross to do referrals. So when people come to us for assistance in the now, we're not able to do that now, but we might know someone who can. And so we've been doing a lot of referring out to help those who need it.
Well, that is desperately needed as well. But like you said, I mean, I think it's such a big project right now. But I'm glad that you're lined up, and I'm thrilled that you're doing the referrals. And there's so many questions about housing right now. One of the things that we talk about each day is we hear from people who are just still very scared because they don't know what the transitional housing plan is, and they're waiting to hear. They're worried as we bring back tourism that they'll get displaced, and those of us in the nonprofit and government and business world know nobody's getting displaced until there's a place where to put them that's going to be a solid place for transitional housing. But the plans are still sort of in the works, and I know it makes people worried as they try to make decisions every day. But I think that knowing too that Habitat has been here for a long time, and that you folks, this is what you do and do well, is bring people together to make sure that the units are built. I think that's very comforting. How can people get more information about the work you do, how to qualify, and just connect with you in person or donate to your restore?
Yeah, all of those are great. So first, you can go www.habitat-maui.org is our website where you can find all of the eligibility criteria for all of our programs. You can also click on a link for wildfires, and that will take you to a list of how you can help now by donating or by signing up with one of over 1,500 people that have already signed up to help when it's time from around the world. Of course, you can always come into our restore and buy something or donate to the restore. And those are the ways that you can help now. Our phone number is 242-1140 if you have any other questions, or just send an email to info@habitat-maui.org.
Matthew, thank you so much. That is really awesome. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like to share about Habitat?
I guess the biggest thing maybe is we're hiring because as we're growing now. We're looking for people in the construction trade, and we're also starting to look for kind of like a case manager / disaster relief coordinator. So if interested, just give us a call at the office and we can chat about it.
Well, give them the phone number again.
Yep, it's 242-1140.
Fantastic. Well, Matt, thank you so much for all you do and for the amazing Habitat team. I just love your restore folks. And by the way, it's fun to shop too. If you're shopping for your house, or you can make a donation. I find when I take a donation, I look around and I end up buying something as well. So have fun, visit the restore, sign up to be a volunteer for Habitat. Let people know they're looking for employees for the tremendous work that they're going to be doing. And of course, you can always donate as well. So thank you so much for joining us, Matt, today. I hope you have a wonderful day in D.C.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Aloha. Well, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, Mokulele Airlines, and then I'll share a little bit more about the Made in Maui County Festival.
Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal.
Welcome back.
Thanks, Gary. Great to be back. Well, before we have Susie Theiman come and join us, I wanted to tell you again just a little bit about some things happening with the Made in Maui County Festival. If you haven't heard, it's on. We've been planning it now for a while, knowing how important this event is to our community and our economic recovery efforts. We've had vendors who there was a blip where they were a little worried, and everybody said, we really need this event. It's so critical right now, and of course, it is very important to our community and tremendously helpful for so many small manufacturers. So it is definitely on. November 3rd is what we call the exclusive shopping day. It's really a day geared for wholesale buyers and retailers who are looking for phenomenal local products to distribute or carry in their stores. Also, people who want to have more of an exclusive shopping, you can buy tickets at the Maui Arts and Cultural Center, and you can have less of a crowd, but a great time to interact with the makers when they're less busy, as well as opening day ceremonies and heavy kupus in the pavilion. So we're going to have a great time on Friday. Saturday is the big festival day. That is the day where the community comes out. People line up early. We have the first 2,000 in the door get festival coats, and we are going to have another phenomenal big festival day on Saturday. We'll have a local entertainment there for you, of course, our amazing food trucks. But this year, for our 10th annual anniversary, Hawaiian Airlines, our title sponsor, is really knowing the devastation that we've had with the wildfires and trying to help people who love local products, not just here on island, but of course across the state. And even if you're coming in nationally or internationally, they're going to have a shuttle at the Kahului Airport. So for our neighbor islanders who want to come visit us, they can take a flight over, use their boarding pass to go on the Hawaiian Airlines shuttles, not need to rent a car, come straight to the festival, and they will take them back. So there's going to be festival shuttles running throughout the day and getting people up till 6 p.m., getting them to get back home in time, but make a great fun shopping day. And of course, while you're here, if you want to also stay over and have a bit of a staycation, Sunday's right around the corner after Saturday's big festival day. You can relax on island, take maybe a few days off, and enjoy a beautiful Maui stay. So it's going to be an exciting event. We are really thrilled to have such strong partnerships. And as you might have heard yesterday, big announcement that November is Kokua for Maui, and the Made in Maui County Festival kicks off that great event. There's going to be a family fun day in Kapalua on November 11th, followed by the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement's annual conference, which will be held at the MAC from the 14th through the 17th, and then a number of our local vendors and manufacturers and interested businesses who want to promote products have opportunities to go to Honolulu. There is going to be an event at the Neil Blaisdell Center on the 19th with Mayor Blangiardi, and then that'll be followed by a pop-up in Waikiki on November 20th and 21st, just before Thanksgiving. So if your businesses are interested, if you is interested in selling your product or being at these events to promote, November Kokua for Maui, please let us know at the Maui Chamber of Commerce. You can call us at 244-0081. We've got a number of businesses registered, but you can register. There will be, right now we're just looking at capacity and who's interested. You can do one day on the 19th, or you can stay for all 3 days, the 19th, the 20th, and then the 21st, and either fly out on the 21st or the 22nd. For those small businesses and most impacted by the wildfires, there are some subsidies that are available. and we can tell you more about that. So feel free to call us at 808-244-0081. And with that, I wanted to introduce Susie, but Gary, is Susie on the line?
Yes, she is on. She's on.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Well, let me introduce Susie Theiman. She is the Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific. If you don't know Susie, a lot of us do. She's out and about throughout in our community and has been for decades. She is, is head of Lokahi Pacific, which is a community development nonprofit organization that has been building affordable housing, housing people with special needs, assists with business startups, and has featured doing a lot of work with commercial kitchens and helping people get started in a commercial kitchen. She has done office incubators, has a training room at the Pono building, provides services as a fiscal sponsor for various events and programs to help other nonprofits or businesses get started in a variety of ways, has been an amazing community resource for us. And I will say that when everybody was tasked with giving out funding during COVID, Susie was on the review teams for many groups, helping to, assess applicants and work hard to get that money out quickly to those in need. She has also a long list of community service engagements and has been a part of various boards, advisory councils, task forces, committees, and associations. So you can get, by just me saying the types of service engagements, we're not listing all the agencies she served, because clearly with that multiplier effect, it would be many. And she has got a lot of honors throughout her life, given the years of services to community organizations like the SBA, Hawaii Business Magazine, and the American Heart and Lung Association. So I hope you're giving in your seat at home, a warm welcome. We're thrilled to have Susie back on to talk to us about what Lokahi is doing at this time. Good morning, Susie. How are you?
Good morning, Pam. I'm fine. How's things on Oahu?
Well, it's actually very quiet down in Waikiki this time of the morning. I'm a little surprised, but I'm sure it'll be picking up quickly.
There you go. Well, it's a beautiful day up here in Kula, I tell you. I hesitate to go down country, but I know that there's plenty of work for me to do. So as soon as we finish, I got to jump in the car and race down there.
Yeah, I hear you. As soon as I finish, I'm heading over to the conference. This was the only way to do the show today, but it is a pretty day here. So
I've been in your shoes, as a host of a radio show for quite a long time. I did a lot of, it was always tricky because sometimes I would be someplace and I'd have to do the show and I'd say, is it quiet enough for me to do it here?
Yeah, exactly. Hawaiian Airlines terminal where they're making the announcements in the background. Yeah.
Right.
The corner where you tried to hide from the microphone. Yeah, you trumped me for sure in radio programming. You have done that for a long time too. That's, by the way, I should have mentioned that in your introduction. You've done a lot of radio programming and a lot of work, of course, with the Maui nonprofit directors. And always on the front line. Tell us a little bit now about what you're doing and remind people, if you will, a little bit about Lokahi Pacific's mission, but the kinds of things that you're doing today to fulfill that mission.
Well, I think basically I'm just going to refer to what we have on our website where we say that with goal-oriented vision and broad collaboration, Lokahi Pacific develops sensible and successful projects that enrich the economic climate of the county, increases the inventory of affordable and special needs housing, and ensures that residents participate in that enrichment and share in its benefits.
Yeah, that is beautifully said, and I'm gonna go back to that website to print out that and make a sign for it, because this is a time when really there's so much in a disaster that we're having to do so urgently. And it takes us all uniting at this time. We need to have these goals. We need to have the timeline. And we need everybody, all hands on deck. So that is a beautifully said mission for the work that you're doing. tell us a little bit about the work you have been doing the last several months, and has things changed with the wildfires?
Well, we were very fortunate. None of our affordable house, or none, I shouldn't say that. None of our housing projects for the special needs peoples were affected. We were all on this side of the island and Kihei, and so we were really, dodged a bullet with that. However, as you know, people who are on this side of the island are all affected because they either know someone or have family who lived over there. So working with our tenants has been kind of an interesting shift because for many of them, it's the first time that the focus hasn't been on them. It's been on the friends they've lost or the things they're trying to do to help their friends over there. And so it's been interesting seeing that change in our people. And I'm sorry that it takes a tragedy like this to make people look outward.
Yeah.
But in one respect, it's been kind of rewarding to be able to talk to them and just, kind of keep them calm and just understand this is a long time thing. This is not going to happen, not going to change tomorrow. The incident may have only taken a day, but it's going to take many, many, many days, months, years for things to get back to normal if they ever do. Of course, one of the big things that happened for us is that we lost our subdivision, our affordable subdivision that was in Lahaina. We had 12 families who all lost their properties, totally destroyed in the fire. And so we've been spending a lot of time working with them and getting them copies of their house plans, some of their documents for their mortgage papers, everything, of course, destroyed in the fire. So when their insurance company asks for something, we try to help them get that because we have in our files, most of the time we have the copies that they need.
Yeah.
But the hardest part of that is that while they're asking for the plans so they can remember what their house looked like and can show prospective builders what they want to rebuild, there's that sense of urgency that they have, and it's trying to calm them down, understand you're not going to build next year.
Right. Yeah. We've been having a lot of conversations on that because exactly what you said. There's, in desperation, first you want to. It helps comfort people to start moving forward with their planning. It helps them get that hope and sense of we're going to start moving forward. We're gearing up. We're ready. And the challenge is knowing that it's going to, the least estimate I hear is 24 months, and then we've heard, it's a process, clearing areas up. And then as they continue to move forward, so it's 24 months to maybe a number of years, and we don't know, to how many years we're talking about as we start moving forward. So helping them through that and manage that is going to be huge.
Well, it's one of those things where you look at it and you say, yeah, I appreciate your eagerness to get back in there. I mean, my house was touched by the fire up here in Kula, and while I didn't have to stay out of my house, it was not nothing was left like open or totally damaged. It was where it was unsafe or anything, but it's been a process, and it's going to continue to be because we're just now getting the estimates for the reconstruction of my whole back wall. But it's just I can feel for what they're going through, and one of the hardest things I'm going through right now is trying to decide when that area is open for them to go back in and take a look and, see if they can reclaim anything. I feel like I should be there with them to encourage them and show support, but I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
That's going to be a very hard thing for me. As I look back over my life, I don't think I've ever been to a fire site for somebody that I know and care about, like my homeowners there in Kahua.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I know throughout all of this, so many of us have been on the front line counseling people, and the calls that we get from the desperation and despair from people directly impacted who, in some cases, lost their business and their home and loved ones, and to, just even businesses not in the area impacted by just the economic devastation that has come from this. It was, reduced visitor counts and other challenges. But
well, I think the most exciting thing to me since the fire has been, on that about 3 days after the fire, when I finally was able to get a hold of the last of the 12 families and find out that everybody is safe. That was the highlight. I mean, they made it out, and they are all in either living with relatives or in the temporary housing that's been provided and so forth. But, it's really just, while I say I'm kind of in limbo here at home, I know it's nothing compared to what they're going through on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. Well, and, as you talked about just trying to find that everybody was safe, I remember, we were frantically on this and other parts of the island trying to make calls, but of course the comm was down, the power was down, the comm was down. People were, I was finding people who had to just run up hills and hike up hills to get some cell phone tower, exposure. And so, I mean, it was all over the place as we were frantic. And now we've moved from that to this. But it's really going to be, as I say every day, people every day are trying to make decisions on their life. And we're still at a point where we know it's going to be a slow recovery. We're excited that people are able to now go back and see their properties. I find that we're hearing stories that, any little treasure is really helpful at picking them up. It's a piece that they can cherish and memories that they're holding on to. But this is going to be a long recovery period, and it's affected a lot of us, and we know from other disasters. We know that our mental health, is something we really have to, take care of each other and help each other through this, because people are devastated, really devastated, and you've experienced it in Kula. Other families lost their homes in Kula as well. I know sometimes in the discussion, Kula gets a little forgotten, but we, our hearts were with them as well, and we had Habitat on. I mean, people have, the numbers of people that are known, and at this point, I remember early on they said pretty much everybody on Maui is going to, when we really get down to it, you're going to have, most people are going to know somebody impacted by these fires in a devastating way. And this for sure gets more and more true over time as we learn more and more stories. And but I'm glad that you're involved in helping them work with even the data recovery, trying to find documents as they're going through this great loss and trying to apply for help. And claims on their insurance policy has been tragic for them and devastating. So great to have you there helping them and getting them their plans back. That is going to be so important. And then I think our next big thing is helping people prepare for the timeline, and mentally prepare, as well as, physically, gear up and come up with a plan where they can build as quickly as possible when it's that time, and protect themselves in the meantime and find other solutions. One of our biggest issues is housing, that temporary housing until we get to the point of rebuilding. So it's something we're working on, because in the absence of that, people are scared. They're really wondering what their housing plan's going to be.
Well, and what they're going to be doing between now and then. I mean, it's a big it's black hole to a lot of people, because things are changing every day. And in our fiscal sponsor program, we've been I can't say we've been inundated, but we've had many calls from people who are trying to establish different programs, and in trying to apply for funds from the Hawaii Community Foundation, Maui Strong Fund, or the Maui United Way Fund. They need a fiscal sponsor, and it's really tough because they've got great ideas of how to help, but it's the timing to put together all the pieces to make it work as a real program, and know that they have the credentials and the experience to actually put that program on, and how they're going to approach people and help them. And just a word of caution, if I can, to people out there who might be thinking about trying to do something like that. Just make sure that the program you come up with does not look like it's a way for a job for you.
Yeah.
It's got the whole point has got to be helping people, not helping your pocketbook. That's one of the biggest problems that we've run into with the calls we've gotten.
Yeah, and I know so many who, actually, it's been interesting. And I'm glad to know that you're doing that and helping people in that way. There's been some new sort of umbrella nonprofits who, I guess, they're unfamiliar to me, but apparently they've emerged from the community and have a bit of a track record, who are trying to help people do that too, because there's so many who have served in this time, and they've been so inspired to serve and seen the value of some of the programs they've served in, to help out and then the program funding ends, and then it's going away. And so some of the people, who served in these national programs are saying, boy, this would really be good to continue locally. So it's interesting. And I've been trying to say to people, especially a lot of people say, oh, I want to start a new nonprofit. And I said, why don't you look to see if there's a nonprofit you can partner with? Or I've been referring you a lot to Susie, because you do the fiscal sponsorship. Don't start a new nonprofit. If you're really trying to serve and get something done quickly, don't waste your time on trying to do that. Work with, somebody who can umbrella you. Lokahi does this for so many other folks. And they're doing the back end of the house where you can focus on really delivering the program service you're trying to deliver in the community. It's an awesome partnership. So I hope you're seeing more of that too, and I'm glad that you're doing that work, because it is so important, and it will really help us expedite good services, needed services.
Right. At this point, I think we've got something like 7 or 8 different programs under like the Hawaii Community Foundation that have started up, and but there may be some more in the pipeline. Like you said, this is not going to end tomorrow. So a lot of the services that the people have thought they needed to get them started yesterday. That might have been important, but it's even more important that it's something that would continue into tomorrow.
Yeah, we're moving into. That's a good point, because we're also moving into transition periods. And we'll continue. Everything's going to be a transition period. But looking forward from one phase to the next, because a lot of what was urgently needed is transitioning now to a different level. So think long term. I think that's great. Make sure that what you're looking to plan to do has long term benefits. Tell us a little bit. Again, with all of the work that you're doing, I know that there are so many different services that you provide that many organizations may need but are just not aware of. Talk to people about, or the community needing different kinds of assistance. Talk to everybody about that breadth of services and connections that you can provide.
Where do I begin?
I hear that, folks.
We kind of say, give us a call. Let's talk about what it is that you're thinking, and let's see if there's a fit. Like you said, I think in the introduction you talked about the incubator offices, the commercial kitchen. There's just so many different areas that I'm sure people don't relate to Lokahi Pacific. We're kind of the quiet folks up the street. We don't do a lot of publicity stuff. We certainly don't do fundraisers. We just are out there helping. And I've always said, one person at a time, one company at a time, one agency at a time. So right now in our fiscal sponsor program, we're serving something like, I think at last count, I saw 36 different programs that we have umbrellaed. And I mean, they're all great in different ways, different programs that they put out there. The main thing for them is that they do not have the wherewithal to have a back office. And so that's where we come in, where we help them guide through the grant application process and then how to administer that grant and make sure they follow what they've said they're going to do. Sometimes it gets, people get off track a little bit because what they thought they could do maybe isn't a good fit once they get into it. We try to catch that before the actual grant goes in, but sometimes we have to double back and help them get back on the right track. And I mean, it's a challenge. Every day I go to work, I have no idea what I'm going to get into.
Well, I think that the beauty is, and I've seen this with you over the years, Susie, and it's something we've embodied as well. It's just simply, how can we serve? How can we help? And some things are going to be a fit with the organization, but even if it turns out it's not a fit, you certainly have the breadth of resources to also refer them to other places. And then where it is a fit, you have done an amazing job helping and creating these partnerships that allow so many other exciting programs to exist in our community. And on that note, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you so that they can call you and share their ideas with you.
Okay, the website is lokahipacific.org. And we keep things simple. To get a hold of us by phone, the number is 808-242-5761. And if you want to call me directly, just put an extension 22 on there. I'm sorry, 23. Sorry, Amy, I'm going to send all the calls to you. 22 is for housing. If you're looking for the special needs housing, that's extension 22. I'm 23.
Fantastic. Susie, as always, it's been great to have you on our show. Thank you so much.
You got it, Pam. Have a good day and have a good conference.
Thank you. You too. Aloha.
Aloha.
All right. Well, there are so many things that Susie and Lokahi Pacific is able to accomplish, and truly a great community resource. So we hope you'll take advantage of learning more about them and reaching out if they can help you with something you're looking to do. Our next guest is Kevin Yim, Vice President of Marketing and Communications for FCH Enterprises, which you may not be familiar with, but they are the parent brand of a company you're definitely familiar with, which is Zippy. Kevin Yim is the Vice President of Marketing and Communications and is affiliated with their variety of companies. Prior to Zippy's, he led the marketing teams for other iconic Hawaii brands, such as Hawaiian Airlines and Bank of Hawaii. He currently serves on the board of Hugs Hawaii, the Aloha Diaper Bank, Goodwill Contract Services of Hawaii, and the Movers and Shakers program. And so this Kevin is well known in Hawaii to many people, and of course Zippy's is well known as a staple in the industry for many years. Kevin, are you on? I could hear some things going on in the background. Is Kevin on here?
Hey Pam, how's it going? Yeah.
Oh, great to have you on, Kevin. It's wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
It's our great pleasure. You have been such a great partner with our Maui Chamber of Commerce, but a partner to our state always, and we thank you for all the great things that Zippy's does and has been doing during this time.
Thank you.
You know, we with all the current events going on Maui, could you share a little bit about the different kinds of things you've done, both in terms of monetary contributions and other food donations relative to the Maui fires?
Yeah, as the situation was unfolding in early August, our general manager of our Kaului store over there on Maui, Ray Kamanting, saw that first responders were coming in, and he did the right thing. He made a on-the-ground call to help feed a lot of the first responders who are coming through. So much so, we actually ran out of food for a couple of days. But more important than that, we also, within the first week, made a $25,000 donation to Red Cross. And then our friends over at Chef Hui, the Amanda Noguchi and Chef Mark Noguchi's of the world, gave us a call, and they were providing meals to those in shelters. So we actually helped to provide breakfast and zip packs, about 100 meals a day to those in shelters. And eventually, when the situation changed and people moved into hotels and private homes, we then provided gift cards to make it a little easier for people to access food. But, what I really want to talk about is what we did on September 30th. I mean, all of that is disaster response, but we're really into building community. And on September 30th, Lahaina Luna played their first football game against Baldwin. You may know that, right? You saw the coverage. And we were very proud to have been asked by the team parents to feed the entire varsity and JV football teams, as well as the cheerleaders and the entire marching band. So that's, to me, the most heartwarming support that we've done in Maui.
I mean, of course, when you always talk about all the things that you do and touching so many of those who were boots on the ground, the first responders, that touches our hearts. And of course, as we work on down to the amazing donations, then you get to the kids. Of course, to see the kids so excited, especially with the devastation in the Lahaina area, that's really remarkable.
1 minute, Pam.
1 minute?
1 minute.
So sorry. Something is wrong with my computer clock, so thank you, Gary. We have gone really long, and I apologize. You know what, Kevin? I would love to have you back on because there's so much to talk about with Zippy, and my apologies. The time on my computer is very wrong. Can we bring you back on next week?
Sure.
Yeah, because there's so many things that I want to talk about as well, about different things you've done with the Kukua Pack, and we have not gotten even close to touching all the things going on, like your new Las Vegas location. And I know that'll be discussed at the conference I'm at today. So if we could bring you back on next week, my great apologies on the timing.
No problem.
We went long on some of the other programming due to my computer issue, but love to have you back on and talk about the other exciting things you've got going on.
Fantastic. And then have a great conference today. I know it's going to be awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. It is going to be awesome. Thank you, and I appreciate your graciousness. We'll reschedule you because there's so many important things to talk about. Folks, apparently that's all the time we have for Business Matters. I have missed the timing a little bit today, but we go quick here, and we hope you'll join us next Tuesday for more information, and we'll bring Zippy back. Have a great Maui day. Blessings and aloha.